You're listening to Suburban Happy Hour with Anne Marie
And Julia.
And Thalia.
the podcast where we make delicious cocktails
Or mocktails.
and talk about everything under the sun.
Because the best conversations happen at happy hour. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Suburban Happy Hour. Today we have Miss Thalia here with us.
Hi.
So excited.
Hey, girl. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good.
Doing great.
I just want to say I love your little hoodie. Is that from our book club?
It is from our book club.
I love it.
Gosh.
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
the color on you, too. And I like that
Thank
color in
you.
general. It's such a cute color.
I did a color test and and I abide by it. I need help.
Wait, I was
Wait.
just literally saying a few episodes
need to
back
do
that I
it.
wanted to do
Yeah.
it.
Did you do it online or in person?
I did it online. You just have to make sure when you take your picture for it, it's like in natural good lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you like zoom in to like the most, like for your hair, you just need to make sure it's like the true shade of your hair, your eye, and your skin color.
Really? How much
Yeah.
was it?
Wait.
I did it for free. It was like color.me or something like that. I could send you the link.
Oh, and how many, did it give you, all the basic colors or, every kind of color?
No, it gave you like a palette. So I think I'm like a winter. Yeah. So I have it pinned to my Pinterest because I need that.
Oh,
I need help.
okay.
I've been wearing yellows and it told me to stay away from yellows. I was like, that
Oh,
makes
really?
sense.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh my
Interesting.
gosh, I need to do that.
You should do that. Yeah.
Okay, no, I've been
It's
wanting to do
helpful.
that too because I love the lady that she does this versus this.
I
and
know,
then she
but
puts it
sometimes
under their
I
chin.
literally cannot tell. I'm
No,
staring
literally.
so intently, trying to
I'm
find
like,
a
does that look
difference.
better? I don't
I'm
know.
like,
Yeah.
know.
I mean, I'm
But
like, yeah, okay, I believe you.
I do see when
Yeah.
you put different colors on, it does brighten up different parts of your
Yes.
face or
Yeah.
whatnot.
Mhm.
So
But no, I
I'm
was
more
gonna
like
say I love
winter,
it.
like bright colors, but like darker or stronger, not anything like pastel or anything like
Okay.
that.
Oh,
And that makes
interesting.
sense, to be honest, because I have like olive skin, like undertones.
yeah. So did you revamp your closet after that, or did you still keep stuff?
I don't have that much money to do that. But
Yeah, I meant in terms of getting rid of stuff that
yeah,
didn't work.
it did make it easier to like get rid of some things because
Okay.
I'd be holding on to every T-shirt I've ever had in my
No,
life.
really.
Literally me.
I'm like, why?
It's why.
I'm like, I need sleep clothes. I'm like, for every
Yes.
single day for the rest of your life without doing laundry. Okay,
Yes,
sure.
that's actually accurate. I literally have T-shirts from back in our cheerleading days,
Oh my
back from
gosh, yes.
SAA, which is 2011.
Do those things still fit you?
Yeah,
That's
they do. My
incredible.
mom would always
That's
make me
incredible.
order
Literally.
order size up so that way I could.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice. That's so
Because-
smart of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I use them as literally my sleeping stuff.
No, sometimes I have stuff from high school and I'm like, I'm gonna be skinny and cute again. One
Please.
day.
One day.
The front of my closet, I have it all pushed. I'm like,
Yes.
one day I can wear
Yes.
this again. It's gonna be great.
You know what? I've been
It's
counting
been sitting there
calories.
for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
That's so funny.
Optimism always. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that because I will be trying
Yes.
that out too.
You need
Me
to.
too.
But first question for you is, how have your 20s been treating you so far, would you say?
Oof. Okay.
It's a lot. Gotta get the phone
Yeah,
out.
she gotta get the notes out.
It's been a rocky road. No. I mean, it's been a lot of learning. I feel like a lot of I like to, if I'm going through struggles and stuff, I need to make sure that I come out of it with a lesson or something that I can walk away from it, not feeling like my head is hanging low. And I think overall, seeing the world as the glass is half full, just because I grew up seeing a lot of the adults around me get overly stressed, not just by the situations that were happening around them, but also by their own attitude. They added to it. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't like that and I didn't affect the people around me the way they did,
Yeah.
That's very mindful.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's how it's been. It's been a learning curve for sure.
No, I feel like everybody
Yeah.
has something to learn in their 20s, but
yeah.
kind of going off of that, is there anything in your 20s that you really had to overcome that you weren't expecting to overcome?
I would say probably how I react to things like trauma responses from my childhood and stuff, and making sure I'm again mindful. I really do try and make sure I'm mindful of those things. Also, being passed down a bad relationship with money from your parents and stuff, that really, I didn't expect it to be so hard to learn that lesson. So kind of dealing with that and just trying to overcome like the workforce too. I think that's a whole thing too, trying to figure out what I want to do without college, because I just never had the support to go to college, and I couldn't see myself doing that. I'm not a school person, so being in the workforce and trying to see what's my niche. I went into sales and it was just like, I don't know, it's just overrun with men, and I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't really like them.
Yeah. No, literally facts.
Like, I accepted one into my life. Do I need to work with all of them?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, thank you. So yeah, kind of learning my lesson in that too, and like knowing when to get out was one of them too. Like, not sticking around for something that doesn't serve me. And
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of like older people complain about, is like that people our age leave jobs too easily, or like they quit right away. But I think it's also like people our age are realizing that we don't have to put up with things that we don't deserve, you know?
Right. Yeah, literally.
Yes, I totally agree. Because even like, so like my parents, they even say like we stayed in jobs because like that's what we had to do. We had to like make money and blah blah blah. And we always say like there's so many different ways to make money nowadays that like we don't have to be tied down to one thing. Or I feel like we are learning, like, no offense, but like self-worth, like we deserve more than the situation that we're in. And I just think like that's how just its times have changed. But
I love that.
it's such a good lesson to learn.
I agree.
It is,
And,
yeah.
you know, older people see it a different way, but as long as you know your truth, or why, you know, things don't fit for you, and you know that you deserve better or want to do something different, you regret accepting a job, whatever the case is, like, good for you for living your truth. You know?
Right, exactly. And then the last one is there anything that you're kind of leaning into now in your 20s? For example, like a lot of people said fitness, or, you know, mindfulness, or therapy, things like that. Anything that you're kind of like trying to implement into your 20s, or that you've been doing that's been helpful?
I guess it really depends on like what month you ask me, because
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I really do like trying everything. I've tried like every hobby. I'll do a new diet every once in a while. I don't know. I just like to switch it up. But I would say something that really helped me was getting into the routine of actually like getting help. For a long time, I didn't have health care. So I reached out to a psychiatrist because I'm like, let's see, you know, what I can do. Therapy's a bit much for me, so let's not do that. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it all. Like, no.
Yeah.
So getting into a habit of like taking care of myself in that way, like, and it was very validated for me when he was just like, when I, you know, had my initial meeting with him, and he was like, so you've been telling me you've just been dealing with these things all your life and you've never had help for it. And it just felt like validating that, like, you know, you don't have to feel ashamed to take medication or like get help or whatever the case is. But I think building that habit of accepting help and, you know, taking medication, I think that's very much changed my life big time.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I always like go on this journey every now and then. I'm like, should I go to? I'm like, no, it's fine.
You know,
but it's
a lot
good
of
to hear that like it is positively affecting like
Yeah.
people that are
Yeah.
on it and stuff.
Yeah.
No, I think I've learned a lot. I know I've learned so much from the people that have been on like this podcast. Like, I started going to therapy because of a person on this podcast. Like, I literally revamped my whole closet because of a person on this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, taking nutrition, and you know, you just learn so much from
that,
people,
yeah.
from other people's experiences. So yeah, like that whole therapy thing, I would have never really considered it if it wasn't for Alondra coming on and like putting it in a different way of, you know, looking at it. So now moving into our topic for you with this whole DNA thing,
Yes.
I've always wanted to take a DNA test too. But, you know, with Thalia's story, it's, you know, a lot. So, you know, you're right. No, but really, it's like there's many things that can, you know, come out of this. So, yeah, without further ado, first question for Thalia is, you took a DNA test, right? Kind of walk us through the whole process of what you were thinking, like, why did you do it? Was it kind of like a spur of the moment type of thing, or is this something that you've been wanting to do for a while prior?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I would ask my parents, like, you know, like, I know I'm Mexican, but like, what area? And they would just like they stated, the towns they grew up in. But I don't know much about my grandparents. I've met them maybe a handful of times. And I don't know, like, their history, my lineage. And I don't know, anytime I've learned about, like, Mexican culture, there's so much diversity in it, because there has been a lot of, like, people from different countries that have settled there throughout history. So, like, Mexicans are, like, I would always say, like, I'm a Mexican mutt. Like, it sounds bad, but, like, that's how I feel, because it's, like, there's so much incorporated into it. Like, Mexican beer is heavily cultured by Germans, because they settled there for a while. So I was like, you know what, let me just figure out what I am. And I thought it was cool that I also learned, like, you and your sibling could have the same parents, but your percentage of what you are could be completely different.
Oh, interesting.
Which is, like, weird.
Yeah.
Like, I thought there was, like, a recipe, like, A plus B equals C, but it's not like that at all. So I was like, let me just try this out. And I've always heard of people doing it. And I also hear a lot of people, like, being like, don't do it, they sell your DNA.
That's what I heard.
You get put in the system. I'm like, I'm not gonna murder anyone anytime soon, so I think I'll be okay. Like, whatever. I mean, that's how the Golden State Killer got discovered. His cousin took a DNA test.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he did.
Wait,
like,
who is that? I don't know who
the Golden State Killer is. Like, a prolific killer. He was a cop, actually, and he murdered a bunch of people, like, broke into their houses.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, he was awful, but he was really good at getting away with everything, and he was about to get away with it. Like, he was probably,
until he took a 23andMe.
His cousin did. Yeah.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
They linked that part of his DNA was related to that person that they were able to run it through, like, everyone in that data system.
Oh, so the people that he had murdered, like, his DNA evidence was, interesting.
Yeah, because he did bad things, so they found his DNA everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I was like, what if I'm on, I don't know. What is that?
Like,
Cold
I
don't
know.
know.
Something like that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I could, because of my DNA, that's not what I found out, though.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Well, leaning into that, can you talk about what those discoveries were after?
Yes. Okay, so I remember, I think I had, like, a little Christmas thing for all my siblings, because I'm one of 7, and we outwardly know that, like, my youngest sister has a different dad.
Okay.
For us, we've never said step or whatever.
Yeah.
We never say anything like that. We always just say sister, brother. But I had everyone over. I think my brother was beefing with my mom. So I was like, I'll just have something at my house so it won't be so hostile and she won't be there. And so everyone came over, and I feel like I was in the middle of mending my relationship with my brother, just because I've been on my own since I was 15. So, I haven't been as close with them as I was when I was younger. And I don't feel like I was always, like, socially accepted into my family. So I was always kind of seen as the black sheep. So now that I'm mending my relationship with my siblings, and especially my brother, I was like, I was telling him about this, and I was like, I was showing him, like, my results and everything, and I was like, actually, I got an email with a coupon code. I was like, you should do it. And your results could be so different from mine. We don't even know. So he's like, okay, awesome. I sent it to him. He literally bought it that night, and then he did the test, and they came back, and I remember he called me, and I don't know why I have such a weird trauma thing with calls. I'm like, ew, I don't want to answer.
Yeah.
And so, but I was like, okay, I talked to him, and he's like, I'm so sorry. And I remember he was crying, and I was like, what's happening? And he's like, I need to show you the results. And he took a screenshot, he sent it to me, and he's like, it says that you're my half sister. And he's like, starts freaking out. And for me, I almost felt like it was, like, comforting in the sense that I knew something was always different. And my mom always talked about how different I was than my siblings. So maybe not in the best of terms, but for me, I was like, this clicks. And it felt almost like, okay, I understand where this is coming from now. But he was just like, I feel so bad. I always made fun of, like, you know how siblings pick on each other? He's like, I always made fun of you for being different than me, and I feel awful now. Like, I can't believe that, like, this is kind of why. And he's like, I just want you to know that you're my sister at the end of the day. I don't care who's your dad, whatever. Like, you're my sister and I love you. And that was really like comforting for me. And I was like, I think I needed to hear that, but I wasn't that surprised.
That's
okay.
interesting, because like, especially how, so like, just, so your siblings, the brother you're talking about, is he older or younger?
He's older.
Do you guys like look very different, or what did he mean that he would like where was that?
Maybe just personality.
Maybe yeah, where did
I was taller. I was taller than like my siblings for that age range. I was I don't know, they always made fun of my SpongeBob teeth. So maybe that's why, whatever. You know what? I love SpongeBob. So whatever, but no, there was always like differences. I was very much more independent, and I don't know if that goes so much as genes, but I like everyone kind of fell under an umbrella under my mom, and I was very much ready to come out of it just because.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I helped raise a lot of my siblings, so I was like, for me, I was like, I need to step out of here. I need to do something else, like, and so I know they all saw that, and they kind of saw it as a bad thing, you know.
Okay. Can you walk us through a little bit more of the emotion that kind of was coming over you when you first found out? I know you said you were surprised, but was there anything else you were kind of feeling in that moment? Or you weren't surprised, sorry.
That you like kind of found comfort in it.
Yeah, I did find comfort in it just because, I don't know, my mom is not always like the most trustworthy narrator, is how I'm going to put it nicely. That, I don't know. So she would always tell me things, and I never really knew what was real and what was like something that she was trying to push me towards. So when I initially got kicked out when I was like 15 years old, my mom was, I remember like after 2 months of not living with her, I was supposed to be living with my dad, but I found different ways to be independent. I even lived in my car for a little bit, but but I just remember her wanting me to come back. I think she like lost some control over me, and I wasn't responding to her. Like, she didn't talk to me for like 2 months, and then after that I think she wanted to regain that control. And yeah, maybe there was some like positivity to wanting to have a family all together, because I remember when I first saw her after that, she was like, you know, you should be with your family, and I was like, okay.
And question, so when she sent you to live with your father, was that like your biological father, or the father that you thought was your dad at the time?
That was the father that I thought it was my dad at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and I not very fond of him either, so I found a way to not live there. And yeah, I just remember her being like, I need to tell you something. So she mentioned it briefly, but I couldn't tell if it was, she knows I'm an emotional person, so I couldn't tell if she was trying to get a hold of me to like get me to come back home or what it was. But I remember her telling me, there's a reason why you're so different from your siblings, and it's because I actually had an affair when I was cleaning offices. She told me like this whole elaborate story, but for me, I was like, I just kept it in the back of my mind. I didn't take it.
Oh, so this was prior to you actually confirming.
Yeah, I was. Okay. I think I was probably still 15 or 16. I don't know.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
She told me like a whole story, and I honestly just didn't know if I should believe it or not. So I just kept it in the back of my head. So I guess that's probably why I wasn't that like surprised.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
But like the background story of it was not the truth. Like, she wasn't, it wasn't some businessman she was having an affair with. She really, I think this is why I like books so much, because I'm like, my mom would enjoy writing one of these. She would love this. Like, I need her to do this professionally, because she would tell me these crazy stories and I would be eating it up. And honestly, at that point, I was like, I don't even care if this is the truth.
Yeah. Just like, let me hear it.
I was like, girl, and then what? I was like, no, what were you wearing? No, but seriously, I can't. No, she was just be getting into it. And I think I think that's why, like, I always say I'm such a good liar, and it sounds so bad, but I will tell people fake facts because it's funny to me, and then I will tell them later. Yeah. But sometimes, like my fiance, I like to make him walk around with fake facts. Sometimes he'll tell his coworkers, and I'll tell him a week later, be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot to tell you that I lied about that." And he's like, "I told all my coworkers." I'm like, "They have Google. That's not my problem."
What does it have to do with me?
Oh, I brought entertainment into your life? Sorry.
Yeah.
No, but I do be having the time of my life. When I first met Austin's family, I like probably like a year into meeting them, I remember I was like, I'm so bored. What can I do right now? I like ran downstairs and I was like, guys, Obama died. And they start crying and freaking out. And I was like, oh, no. This is supposed to be funny. Okay, I'm so sorry. No, he's alive.
Find this funny?
I was like, you guys are crying? Not fun.
Not funny.
I was like, but I'm not bored, actually. Drama. No, anyways, so she told me this crazy elaborate story. Yeah. And I was like, okay, T. And then after that, I kind of just stuffed it away in the back of my head. I was like, maybe it's true.
Yeah. But if you, like you said, like if she has a history of making, it's like, that's like another thing. How you said, just probably like rope you back in and all that stuff. Yeah.
So for me, I was like, first of all, not getting roped back in. I don't care if I have to struggle, but I'm not doing that. And then when I did find out, though, I was a little bit, I like started digging, and actually my brother's wife helped me because I wasn't speaking to who I thought was my dad. So they were able to kind of like ask him what was happening around the time I was conceived, and like going to doctor's appointments. And from there, he told them, and they told me that like it was actually our neighbor like behind us. I was like, how cliche. She's so cliche for that. Oh my god. Our neighbor, like literally like our backyard neighbor.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I was like,
not a businessman.
Like,
not a businessman. Yes. And you know what though? I have
wait, so you like he would be around when you were little.
I was just gonna say I have little like short memories of being in this man's house. Nothing bad, don't worry. This sounds bad. No, and I was alone. That's why I was like, why do I have these weird memories of being like eating an ice cream on his couch playing with his dogs? Yeah. And I was little. I mean,
so you think he knew the whole time?
Yeah, definitely. And after they told me, like,
oh my gosh.
Also, TMI, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but my mom had to hop a fence to get back there. Girl.
She doing the most. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She said, well,
yeah.
Hop a fence?
That's so crazy.
Never in my life did I look at a man and say, I'm hopping a fence for you.
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
No.
Oh my gosh, wait.
I just can't believe that like you grew up around him.
Yeah. So, but he did move away early in my life. So I think there was like an instance that this is what I was told, that my mom was going to a doctor's appointment because she was pregnant with me, and I think my dad like followed her there, and then he met up with her there because he was going to go to the doctor's appointment with her, and he ended up like leaving or whatever because they got into like a whole like a fight in the parking lot or something. I'm like, Jerry Springer. Okay, for real, y'all?
Interesting. Okay, so the fact that he knew this. So okay, wait, and when it comes to DNA results, does it give like first and last names? Like, how did they find out that this man was your dad?
Well, they found.
She said they did some digging.
Yeah, we found that out through that digging. So yeah, I had my brother and his wife. His wife really did the FBI work. Thank you to her. No, she really did. And then
it's really impressive. Like what a girl can do, what she can find out.
She was asking the right questions. Because guys don't ask the right questions. You ever they ever come home from work and they're telling you tea, but they don't even tell you like
they don't know anything.
I'm like, did you? And then what did she say? I don't know. I didn't ask. What the heck?
They just get the basic, and they're like, oh, this is good. I'm gonna share this.
Yes. No, you
surface level.
You didn't ask any questions.
Right.
Now I'm just confused and it's a mystery. Yeah. So I'm so grateful for her, and I'm glad she was, asking all the right questions, because I remember we met up for coffee after they talked and everything, and she told me everything. he luckily, who I thought was my dad, remembered his name and everything. She like took notes. She wrote everything down.
Oh, that's sweet, though.
I found him on Facebook, and I was like, I just need to know. And I remember I just messaged him, but I tried to ask my mom about it too, but no, she was still in denial. She's like, I remember I messaged her about it, and I said, hey, I want to know, remember when you told me about me having a different dad? I want to know more. And she said something about like that she made it up. And I was like, normally I would believe that, but I literally had the DNA test, and I sent her a screenshot because I'm just like not playing. I'm like, let me just send you what I know. Sent her a screenshot, and I was like, actually, no, it literally says here in the DNA results that like my brother Hideman is from a different dad. So like, just be honest with me. And she didn't respond to me. I was like, oh, that's such a me move. I respect it.
Oh my gosh.
No, yeah. So
okay, but then you reached out to him. And then what did he say?
Yeah, well, I reached out to him, and I didn't like, I wasn't like, hey, I'm your child. I was just like, hey, did you grow up in Streamwood? And from the profile pictures, I couldn't tell if it was the dad or, because he has like 2 kids, two sons and a wife. So I was like, I can't tell if it's the son or the dad. And I said, hey, I think we were neighbors growing up, but I just want to confirm, are you the dad or the son? I forgot how I worded it, but I tried to just like be friendly and get information. And he was like, yeah, I do remember you. We did live in Streamwood, and I'm the dad or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, I just wanted to reach out actually because I think you might be my dad. And I was like, and I just want to know if you know anything about that. And he did get kind of like sketched out, just because like this is a secret he's been hiding from his family.
Yeah.
So, and everyone in my life was like, aren't you mad? Like, he knew. And like, I was like, well, I remember messaging him and being like, I am not here to ruin any lives. I'm not going to reach out to your wife or your kids or anything like that. I just want to know more about like who I am as a person and like why I am the way I am. Like, I am different from my siblings, and I want to know like more about you and what, because at the end of the day, even if you're like adopted, your parents are still within you know what I mean? So I just wanted to know more about that, and I just let him know like, I'm not here to ruin your life or tell on you or do anything, honestly. And he's like, okay, well, this is my number, and we started texting from there. And I just remember one day he like randomly sent me a picture of me when I was little, and I was like, this man has pictures of me when I was little. I was like, what kind of agreement does he have with my mom? And like, what if I never took this test? Like, that's crazy, and it's been like a lot to take in, but I've been taking my time with it, and I'm very glad I found out.
Nice.
But
I know we didn't ask at the beginning, but when did you actually take the DNA test?
This was like 3 years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 years ago. Yeah. And everyone in my life always asks me, like, people that I've told this story to, they always say, like, aren't you mad? Like, he didn't reach out to you, all these things. And some of those people may not understand, like, what it's like to not have any stable parents and just wanting, anything, like any stability or any, I don't know, positive
like clear,
parent experience that I could have. I'm never gonna turn that away. It's already been hard enough for me, like with the people I've grew up with and who I thought were my parents originally. I don't think I could put it on me to pass judgment on on him.
And that's like, so it's like, whatever, like that is really brave and really strong of you, because a lot of people do not have that mindset. And like, if they found out information like this, it would be like kind of what you said, like they might try and, go after them or go after the family or whatnot, like, or just like that out of just like, not just rage. I feel like even if you don't want to be mad about something, sometimes that just comes up, but for you just to be able to kind of look at it in that sort of light, that is really empowering.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I feel more of like, when I do feel like that anger about that whole situation, it's mostly towards my mom, just because like growing up, she didn't treat me as a child, but more like her like best friend, in a way where she would overshare things, and I'm like, why wasn't this one of the things you overshared? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't understand why I keep up with the lie, or like even when I finally the truth is out there, like just tell me. I just want to know. I've never been like a bitter person that holds anything against anyone. Like there's nothing you could tell me that would make me be like, I'm never talking to you again.
Yeah.
Is she still to this day kind of like not acknowledging it?
Yeah, so I haven't seen her, I would say, in 2 years. Like this definitely put a dent in our relationship. It was already like damaged, just because through everything that I've dealt with, I've never heard like a real apology. She's always like, I had to do that, you know how you were, or whatever the case is, but it's nothing of like support. So, and I've always just kind of let it go, because I want to see my siblings. And, you know, so I've seen her sparingly, but not very much. And I can tell she's hurt by it, but so am I, you know? And I've survived all the hurt she put me through. So
yeah, and that's part of, I think, how you were saying, maturing and growing up and putting yourself first. It's like you got to know when to step back. But so that was you shared how that affected your relationship with your mom. What about like your siblings? You said that your brother was obviously upset when he first found out, but now how are you guys, and how are you and with your other siblings? Has this really like affected your relationships with them, or not really?
Not really. Like I said, I'm one of 7, so there's some siblings that I don't really see anyways, just because I don't know, unfortunately we didn't grow up like showing like love or affection outwardly. And so I'm not close with a bunch of them, and I haven't been since like before I was their caretaker and I was, you know, taking care of them. But I know my brother, I needed to like upgrade my phone or something, so my oldest brother Lionel, he's like in charge of the whole phone plan. And I remember like we went to go do that. I had to meet him up because he's like the main person on it, so you know I had to do all those things. And then he's like, do you want to get lunch while we're out? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So we went to go get lunch, and he's not a very sentimental guy, so I just remember at one point like he was having trouble getting out what he wanted to say, and I was like, okay, weird. And he was just like, I just want you to know, like, same thing my brother said, like, you're my sister, it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like,
yeah,
who's your dad? And you know, like, obviously I wish like mom was more truthful, but you know, it is what it is, and we're family, and I love you. And I was taken aback, just because we don't really say that. We don't, we're not affectionate, so it was nice.
No, that is great to hear, especially in that circumstance. And I kind of feel like maybe that's what you all needed at that point, just to be able to say it, and then also to hear it. So
yeah, for sure. And then how would you say this whole experience has really impacted your sense of identity?
That has been a tough one, honestly, just because I did get to, like, you know, the more I text my actual dad, and I even saved his number like under dad, and I'm like, is this much? I was like, this is serious. No, but I was like, this is crazy. But I remember him telling me, like, he was like, I want to hear a little bit more about how you grew up. And I told him a little bit, like, you know, how I was kicked out at 15, how I had a hard time with my mom and raising my siblings, and the pressure of growing up in a Mexican household where like men are more valued than women. Women have to carry a lot of the weight, things like that, working from a really young age. And I remember him being like, that sounds exactly like my story, but he's like from an adopted family. So it almost felt like I was closer to him because he knew where I was coming from.
Yeah.
And then finally, once I was like brave enough to actually answer one of his phone calls, because that scared the shit out of me, we talked more in detail about that, and I told him more in detail about everything that happened to me growing up and stuff. And he was just like, I wish I could have gave you the life that I gave my sons, and I wish your mother would have reached out to me, or, you know, I didn't know those things were happening to you. And that did make me like cry, but at the same time, I wouldn't be who I am without those things that happened to me, because I always see like those hurdles in my life as something that makes me proud of who I am. And I don't feel pity for myself at all. And I'm like, I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't have the motivation, and I wouldn't be the partner that I am. I wouldn't be the dog or the cat mom that I am. Like in every aspect, the coworker, like, the way I am is because of how I grew up, and it wouldn't have been the same. So
yeah. And how beautiful it is now that you get to like share that experience with him, and he knows where you're coming from, and you kind of have an outlet now to kind of talk through those things. And even if he couldn't have given you that now, you're starting to form a relationship now, which is so great.
And the way that you just speak about everything is so like inspiring. I feel like, wow. Like it takes a lot of like character. Seriously. Like you're really definitely a strong person. Like obviously we've all been through some shit, but like, you can really tell that, you try to see the glass half full, which is really amazing. So.
Yeah, because otherwise, like, I'd be sad all the time, and that's so boring.
And it's not worth it.
And it's draining, too.
It really right now, is draining.
Like, that it's cold, I'm, like, getting the what do they call it? The winter blues or whatever?
Yeah,
so it, like, kind of hits me. Luckily, I do have, like, friends and family that are... mainly Alexa, shout out Alexa. That is, like, that's not happening, girlfriend. And, yeah, she's awesome. But, yeah, like, I don't let myself fall all the way into those because it's just like not worth it.
Yeah. No, we're not here for a long time, so might as well have a good time.
Right. If I'm not giggling, like
I don't want it.
If I'm not giggling, I should be sleeping. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, literally.
That is a really good outlet to have. But kind of going back into it just a little bit, has your definition of like family or genetics or like truth changed now that you kind of know this story and know this little piece about you? Or it's not little, sorry, that's a huge piece about you, but just like,
I mean, in some senses it is just a little piece of me, so I understand that, just because like it's just something that came into my life later, so it hasn't like affected my identity as much as I think it would if I found out when I was like much younger. But it doesn't change my opinion of family, only because I've already felt left out of my family for so long and for so much of my life. And I've already gone through that process that I've made my own family as I was going through these things. And I grew up with, I didn't want to talk to who I thought was my dad. And I remember my brother always being like, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, that's your dad. You have to have him in your life. And I'm like, actually, I don't. Yeah. If it's that easy for my own mother to kick me out of the house and be like, we're done with you, why does it have to be hard for me to just, someone that negatively impacted me or whatever the case is, like, to keep them in my life? It's just like, no. Right. No, thank you.
Yeah. No, that's valid. That's how I feel about my situation, too. It's like, if you don't serve me, bye.
No, right. And I'm like, I don't know, why am I going to waste precious time too? You don't even know how long you're here for.
No, exactly. And then with your experience, what would you say to someone, for example, like me, who wants to take a DNA test, and would you like advise them to do so, or kind of like be cautious, because it could turn your world upside down?
Listen, if you think you're any of your parents are sus in any kind of way, keep that in mind, I would say. But I would say do it. I mean, live your truth, honestly. Like, find out more. I don't know. That's what I want to do. I just want to keep finding out things. And, I know I found out I have a dad and, like, 2 step siblings that I don't know if I'll ever meet. But, I don't know. I also found out really cool things about
because you were saying the whole point of you doing it is to get an idea of like where your ancestry's from and all that stuff. So that's cool, because I would love to know exactly like where, because all I know is like I'm half Polish, half Haitian, whatever. But I'm like, there's more to it than that.
Oh, absolutely. So, you don't like to get into. I'm not a huge history buff, and I could never like. Unless there's like hee-hees and ha-has in it, I could never get into it like the way some people do. Like, you know how guys are like, the Roman Empire, I think about it all the time. I'm like, I never even blinked twice at that. Like, I'm like, ew, no. Did they wear anything cute? But for me, it's like, I don't know. It is interesting to see, like, to kind of find out more about our ancestors. Mm-hmm. Like my fiance's aunt, she found out, like, what are those people with the, like, they were like one of the first humans.
Adam and Eve? Oh wait,
no,
that's from the Bible.
Adam and Eve.
One of the first people.
Yeah, they're called. I know what they're called. They kind of look like the monkeys. They're my god,
cavemen.
No, yeah, they were like,
but there's like a scientific name for them.
She found out she's like a big percentage of that, and
Neanderthal.
Yes. Yes, they have like the big forehead and like their knuckles dragging down.
I remember learning about those.
Not Adam and Eve. Not Adam and Eve.
That was amazing.
Though. First, I was like, I don't know. I think that's Bible or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so I remember she told us that she was a big percentage of that, and she was like, we were all just laughing at it, just because it's like kind of funny to think about. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I literally have my DNA pulled up here.
Wait, so is there anything that like you see on here that you're like, what?
Well, first of all, I didn't expect to see, because I was like, I wonder what they label as Mexican, which is actually on, this is like MyHeritage DNA. Not sponsored. No, but it's Mesoamerican and Indian, but Indian is spelled Andean. Because it's different than the Asian Indian.
Interesting.
You know? So I didn't know that was I completely learned something different, because I mean that is what they called like Native Americans. So I do have like partial Native American. It's like that kind of whole central Mexico type era.
Okay. Italian.
Yeah. No, I know. I was like, ooh, okay, no wonder I like Parmesan and pasta. Like I was like, I knew I tasted it extra good. No.
Oh my god.
I'm Iberian, 15.5% Iberian. Like, girl, that's Spain though. Like, those are just like colonizers. I'm like, okay.
But no, that's so interesting. So it gives you like a real.
Yeah, and it shows you like the general area of where your ancestors came from.
That's really cool.
So cool.
So yeah, Italian is on there. North African, right? Is that what's on there? And then.
You're some Indonesian up in here.
Yeah, girl.
Okay.
I'm Flavor Flay. Like, I'm so good.
Shit.
No, literally, I told my fiance to do it, and he's like, "What if it just says like white?" And I'm like, "Please,
no."
I'm like, it could probably say that, but no. Yeah, Baltic, North African, Nigerian. Okay, like
that is
Middle Eastern. I do be cooking good.
Yeah.
All I gotta say.
Gosh.
I used every seasoning in the cabinet.
So wait, thanks to you, it kind of seems like a lot of other people have also taken it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm very influential. Like, I will make everyone in my life do what I'm doing. Like the whole color me thing. Yeah. I literally sent it to everyone. I made Alexa do it. Like, I'm very much that girl, and I have to do that with my hobbies too.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh my god, you need to teach me." Okay, I'm not doing all that.
Yeah. You can.
I'll send you a link.
I'll send you a link, and then you let me know how it works.
Because I'll start teaching you, and then I will tell you a story about like nothing.
Yeah.
And then I'll forget what I'm talking about. Like, what were we doing? Anyways? And you'll never do it again. So that's not my fault.
But no, okay. So, and then everybody has been happy with their results and stuff too. Like they've for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, yeah. I haven't had any.
I haven't had any bad reviews.
No bad reviews. Yeah. I mean, except for me, I have a bad review. No, just kidding. No, I'm glad I found out what I did. But it definitely, like, maybe my brother, though, because I felt like he was more traumatized about that than I was. And I was just
like, how do I even tell her? But know, it's so good that he did.
Like, yeah, no, I did kind of, I was like, hey, just so you know, like, Mom did tell me a weird story, but we are both wary about, like, how she is. That she would and say. He's like, oh, no, it probably isn't anything. It's not real. And I was like, that's what I was thinking. So, you know, just go about it. When he called me, like, freaking out, I was just like, ooh, sorry. I don't even know how to comfort anyone in that sense.
Yeah.
And I think he wanted, like, to comfort me, or, like, he's like, I don't know how you're going to cope with this. And I'm like,
right. But you were kind of prepared already, like, subconsciously. And I think, I don't know. That's crazy. I wonder have you ever met anyone with like a similar experience or no? Because I was going to say, I wonder if they also kind of subconsciously knew, like at their core.
No, I know my like older coworker, I call him a boomer. He's not a boomer, but he just has boomer tendencies, you know?
Yeah.
So I know he he knew he was adopted, like, in everything, and he is, as a grown-up, meeting his siblings, because he, like, found them through a DNA match, too. And he did a DNA test. I don't think he expected to find his birth mom and his siblings, but he did, and he wrote to them, and they didn't get back to him for, like, 5 years. And so now he's telling me all these stories about them meeting, and how, like, it's really fulfilled something within him, like, meeting them, and how, like, I don't know, just surprised he is that they look like him and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that makes me happy. But that's the only, like, similarity that I can see. I don't really meet much people. Like, people talk, some of my coworkers talk about how amazing their parents are, and I'm like, okay.
Like, that's so great.
Like, why are you bragging?
Good for
Be humble. No, I'm just kidding. I'm very happy for them, and I'm like, can I borrow them? But no, that's the only instance I can think of.
Is this one of those apps, like, that connect you with people, though?
Yeah, it does show your DNA matches, and I don't know, there's so many. I think this one's a little bit more niche. Not my bank telling me I'm negative $5, but
we don't need that right now.
I'm like, girl, I'm trying to look at my DNA, please. But it tells you your DNA matches, but a lot of these are like, I know my, okay, sorry, I need to verify I'm not a robot. I'm not. I wish I was. Okay, yeah, like, you see my brother on there, and it literally says half brother. So my brother's on there, and that's my cousin, and then the rest of these people, who knows? But they're like my parents' second cousin. What does that even mean?
Okay, and so wait, I've heard that in order for these people to pop up, they would have at one point had to take one of these DNA tests.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because I always ask my mom about my dad, because I don't even know where my dad is right now. I'm like, are you sure I don't have any siblings out there? Blah, blah, blah. And she goes, I really don't know. I really don't think so. That's her whole thing. But she hasn't talked to the man in years. Like, we literally laugh about how fucking crazy that man is. But I'm like so interested if I kind of want to take a test to see if he has any like sibling, if I have any like half siblings out there.
Oh my gosh, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
But the thing is they would have had to take it too.
Yeah.
I would do like a bigger one. Like, I actually want to do more tests from different companies, because they use, I feel, also your DNA updates all the time. Which is weird. So the percentages change.
I can't even get into that. I don't even
Isn't
know
that
what
crazy?
that means.
Yeah, it means like they've discovered new, like, I don't know, testing that tells you where those DNA, I don't know where that DNA actually
so
comes
not
from.
the DNA in your body, just the DNA on the
the molecules in your body.
About
like
you're updates.
You're like,
so
I do
we
feel
are
more
robots.
Italian
Thank
today.
you.
I'm like, bruschetta.
been
No,
a long
I don't
day.
know. No, it's not like that. It's literally the technology.
I got it.
Can you
Somewhere.
imagine?
Said that, I was like, no fucking
It's
way.
like, no wonder.
This is not how Adam and Eve wanted it.
She
Oh
starts
my God,
talking she starts talking in an English accent. She's like, oh, I need some tea and crumpets.
I'm English. Thank you.
No, I'm
my
so
God.
done. No, it's literally the technology. Yeah, but wait, what was the question before that?
I forgot.
Oh,
Does it connect you with people?
oh yeah.
That's how we got
but
here.
if you go on the big, like 23andMe, it's like one of the biggest
Yes.
ones.
Wait, which is the one that you took?
This is Heritage, MyHeritage.com or something.
I'll do that one just because that's the one you recommend.
I love that. It's the only one I've taken this one. No, but I want to do more of them because, you know, their technologies are different, but also, yeah, depending on the person that took that test on that website, like, or through that company, you'll get different matches. So that's very interesting to me. I also just want to compare the percentages and see how true I can get it. I'm like,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so crazy.
Huh. But no, I'm definitely intrigued. And then our last question is, if this even applies, but what steps have you taken to heal and find closure after this discovery, would you say?
I think it's taken a lot for me to, like, actually leave, like, the communication open for me and who my dad actually is. And it's been hard for me. Like, I think sometimes he gets, like, a little bit sassy with me because I'm not a good communicator. Like, if something freaks me out, I just won't respond. But I've been trying my best to not do that. So, like, you know, sometimes I won't text him back or something, and he'll be like, fine, I'll stop bothering you. Like, he's so dramatic, and I'm like, I actually kind of love that, because same. And he's like, you know, yeah, like, when we talked on the phone, he was like, I'm like this with my actual kids too. Like, I will be like, fine, don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to you either. Like, and so he'll like text me like, I'll stop bothering you. Let me know when you're ready to talk. And then he'll text me the next day. Like,
How often do you guys talk?
I mean, we text throughout the week. We were supposed to talk on the phone this weekend, but I kind of got scared and I didn't. Yeah. And we didn't talk, but I don't know. I think like facing that has brought healing to me too, just because I finally met someone who's like me. Like, my fiance is like me in the fact that we've both gone through hardships, but the fact that my actual father has gone through very similar things as me, knows my struggle, and knows what it's like to be above it, because he has like he's similar to me in the way that he has a bunch of hobbies. He like loves animals. He has so many cats. He has like dogs too. I'm like, that is so me. If I could, I would literally host every cat. Yeah. in like senior Chihuahua. Yeah. Honestly. But yeah, so he's very similar to me. I thought that was, that's been very healing for me. It's also been very healing that my siblings have been so accepting and like they want to comfort me and help me through it. My sister Diana has always been like a rock to me. She's always like, she's just a year younger than me. So she always like, she doesn't let me fade away, which I think I tend to do in the whole like dynamic of my family. It's just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna fade into the background, and she's like, no you don't, you know. And it's really nice that she's been there for me through this too. So it's been comforting to see my siblings be more affectionate and show their love for me. So
nice. That's awesome. Are you hoping like so you're obviously still going to communicate with your biological father? That's something that you want to make sure stays? Yeah. Okay, that's so good. I just, like, I'm so happy that it worked out for you in that way. Because like, a lot of situations might not have, where, like, either you weren't receptive or he wasn't. So I'm just, it's so good to hear that you found this out, and then he is being as receptive as you are, and you're kind of on your own timeline. No one's pushing each other to do something you don't want to do. So
where is he? Where does he live now? Where do they move to?
I think he said, I think I literally was writing down notes when we talked on the phone last time. I think he said Aurora is
okay, so he's still in like
he's
this
local
area.
Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of crazy to me, but yeah, and he has mentioned like meeting up and stuff, and I mean, I would want to. I just like, I don't know, it takes so much. I get so nervous about these things, and I remember the first conversation we had on the phone. He was like, don't be so nervous. It's okay. Like, I can already tell through text that you get really nervous. I'm like, I do. I don't know. It just scares me. Like,
no, I mean,
that is
a big thing.
Yeah, that's something crazy to find out about. But like I said before, like, it's so nice to hear that he's just like moving at your pace.
Yeah. Yes. I think it just proves that I'm the main character.
Yes. No, exactly.
No, like, honestly, you have to look at it that way, or else it just doesn't.
Literally, I'm like, I feel like in my head, that's why I'm like, I have to just keep going forward, because that's what the main character does, and she is me. Hello. Yeah. I'm like,
what a good way to look at it.
No, honestly, we should all adopt a main character energy in our own lives. Because that's just the only way.
Yeah. Some people don't need it, to be honest, but
some people need to calm down.
But I think we do. And it really just helps you embrace like your storyline overall. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of look at things like that. I don't know. I like to read a lot, and I think it's sometimes because I just like to delve into a story that's not mine. But sometimes when you focus on your own, you have to think about those things. Like, what is your storyline, and what is like, you know, what you're overcoming and things like that. And I don't know. I like to tell stories. So I'm like, let me do this, and then I have a cool story to tell.
When everyone was so big on like, do it for the plot. Yes. Where's that energy? We need to get back to it.
No, literally. It's like you have to look at your life as a story. Because it is.
It is.
At the end of the day, it is a story.
Wow. This has just been like so
I know.
Seriously, though.
She's inspirational. Oh my God.
No, but really good conversation right there.
Right. No, actually.
Yeah.
But just to kind of wrap up this whole thing, it does not have to do with our conversation that we just had. Just anything that's in your head. What advice would you give someone in their 20s? I'm so excited to hear this.
I would say embrace your struggles, embrace like all those humps you've had in your life. Just because I feel like sometimes I feel like a lot of people end up telling me their stories, and I love seeing how they express themselves through it. And I have seen people like tell it in a pity way, and it just doesn't do you justice, honestly. You survived it. You are who you are because of it. Be proud of it. And I just think more people need to embrace that. And the more you do, the more you live life. Don't let people feel bad for you. Like, I'd say these sad things have happened to me, but I think it's made me like, I don't know, like I can laugh about things, and I love having a good time and being like part of the entertainment. I'm never gonna let a story make the whole room sad. Like, you're still gonna be laughing at the saddest story that's ever happened. You know what I mean? And I think when you live your truth, you feel that through the story, you know, that you're telling. And so when you talk about sad things with your friends, your family, accept it as your truth, and just know you overcame that. You are who you are because of it. Be proud of it. Don't let anybody be like, oh, I'm sorry. Ew.
Yeah. I just want you all to know that you really do live that truth, because before you came, me and Julia were talking and saying how excited we were to have you, because the last time we were all out to dinner with Alexa, we were just like, you were just cracking us up.
Yeah,
like,
you are just naturally such a funny person.
Like, it's incredible. And just the way that you like talk to people, and like just
thank you.
Like storytelling. It was just like,
that's
like
we definitely your thing. You ever thought about writing a book?
Hey,
you should. I think about things all the time.
Hobbies. I do a lot of those.
No, right. I've tried doing like videos or things like that. I've always thought, like, I love that you guys are so consistent with the podcast. Like, I've always thought about stuff like that, but then I just get the ick from myself. I'll watch it back and I'll be like, ooh,
don't. It'll pass. Trust me.
It really passes.
It'll pass.
So,
you just have to do the first couple, but no, that would be something that you would be so incredible at. And you just, like you said, you have the story to tell.
Yeah.
And I just love that like lighthearted spin. You always add something to it.
Yeah.
It shows a lot, because a lot of people do not have that mindset when it comes to things that they've been through.
Yeah, their burdens are legit a burden that you could like see them physically carrying with them. Yeah.
So. I'm like, no thanks. It's not fun.
No, it's not.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks
and
for
being
having
so
me.
vulnerable in this. I know this is maybe not something that you ever thought you would share like publicly like this, but we really do appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys having the platform to do it on too.
Of
Just because I
course.
know I reached out to you guys, but I was just like, I don't know. I've wanted to kind of expand speaking out about things like this, and I mean, I feel like there's a lot of things I could speak out on, but I was like, this is, I think, a good one.
Well, we'll have you back.
A good first step. Right. Whatever you want to talk about, let us know. Let us know.
Yes. And you truly never know, like, who is resonating with you. And so you really never know.
You never know.
But no, we thank you so much. And like I said, we will have you back.
Yeah.
If you could think of something else to talk about, let us know.
I'll send you a list. You pick.
It's just going to be actually us three from now on.
Actually, yes. I'm infiltrating the group. Please.
That would be amazing. No, but again, thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we will see you guys next week.
Bye.